Can you hear us?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome to our class.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
First of all, thank you for accepting talking with us. You were so nice on Instagram. I was so happy.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We're honored to have you here, and we're going to talk a little about your work, your creative process. And I would like you to please introduce yourself to everyone. And then I think we can start. Just a little disclaimer, my English is a little rusty, so please bear with me.
Sure.
And do you mind starting introducing yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everybody. Once again, good afternoon. My name is Eve Balashova. You might have seen me on Instagram. I am a jewelry designer and maker. I work with 3D printing and precious metals, and I am based in Glasgow, in Scotland.
Ela falou que o nome dela é Eve Balashova. I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Yeah, perfect.
E ela falou que ela trabalha com impressão 3D em joalheria e ela mora em Glasgow. Eve, I'm going to ask you if it's okay that I'm going to try to simultaneously translate to everyone, because not everyone speaks English.
Okay.
You can go on.
Okay, do you want me to mute you so that we don't speak at the same time?
I'm going to mute myself, and then when you're finished talking, I will just translate.
Okay, let's see. Can I share my screen?
I think in the bottom of your screen there's a button, share screen.
Okay. Yes. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. Okay, yeah, so just once again, hello and welcome to my presentation. My name is Eve. I make 3D printed jewelry and precious metal jewelry. I am originally from Russia, from a place called Murmansk in the northwest of the country. And I'm currently based in Scotland. I moved to Scotland when I was 17 to attend Glasgow School of Art, which is where I got my degree in silversmithing and jewellery. I did loads of other things while I was living in Scotland. I worked in a variety of different roles. I worked in a pub, worked as a tour guide for a while, and I worked in sales for a while. So everything kind of combined together shaped my experiences of the country and generally my experience of living here. Okay, let's go back. So I started my studies at the GSA from International Foundation, and I went straight into the second year of silversmithing and jewellery, which is a 4-year bachelor's course. I had no metalworking experience at that point, so I didn't really know anything about jewellery or how to make it or any, tools or equipment. Everything was completely new for me. So first year I learned the basics, soldering, piercing. Second and third year was sort of a serious project which allowed me to explore new materials and new techniques. And this is also where I started to learn the basics of 3D modeling. So we did a little bit of CAD. In particular, we worked with a program called Rhino, which is where I do most of my 3D modeling now. Is that okay, Thami? Do you want me to speak any slower?
No, just, can I translate now?
All right, okay, yeah, sorry.
Thank you. Ela falou que ela é originalmente da Rússia, de uma cidade no noroeste da Rússia, e que ela foi para Glasgow. Ela fez faculdade de joalheria. E aí ela falou que no primeiro ano eles aprenderam básico, solda e esse tipo de coisa. E aí no terceiro ano que eles começaram a mexer com materiais diferentes. E que aí no terceiro ano que ela então começou a mexer com o Rhino e com o CAD, que são os programas de impressão 3D, e que ela começou a se interessar por impressão 3D. Ela falou que ela foi para a Inglaterra com 17 anos. E acho que é isso. Alguém me ajuda? Porque eu não sei se eu lembrei de tudo.
Eu acho que é mais ou menos isso também do que eu me lembro. Tem mais coisas, mas eu também... o básico é isso.
You can go on, please.
Okay, cool, perfect. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. So I was obviously an international student in the UK. I traveled all the way from Russia, and that involved jumping through several bureaucratic hoops and going through piles of paperwork and applications and, you know, all sorts of, you know, office related things. And I think this experience kind of stuck with me towards the final year of my degree, because immigration is so difficult, and it had a big influence on my work, because this frustration of kind of paperwork and going through repetitive processes wanted me to kind of turn that frustration into something beautiful.
Ela falou assim que ela sempre foi meio que uma estrangeira no Reino Unido, e que lá é muito difícil essa parte de imigração e que precisa de muita papelada, e ela teve que lidar muito com isso no terceiro ano, e isso acaba deixando ela meio frustrada, porque dá muito trabalho e meio que se sentir estrangeira, e aí ela quis colocar meio que isso no trabalho dela. E é meio que essa frustração com burocracia por conta da imigração.
Mm-hmm. So, repetition of that process was really the main element that I wanted to bring into my work. And I wanted to represent kind of the organized chaos that you can usually find in offices. I wanted to create something that's perfectly geometric, but at the same time has an element of distortion. And I started the research process by looking at office supplies and kind of objects that fill office spaces. So I've got stationery, computer hardware, you know, interior layouts of offices, and I created grids using, you know, different stationery things, such as you see here. You've got the staples, and I've used some other bits and pieces like that to create my first samples for the development of my degree show work.
Ela falou assim que essa repetição do processo de toda hora ter que fazer papelada por conta da imigração, ela acabou meio que usando isso para o trabalho dela. E ela queria mostrar esse caos organizado que tem em escritório. Aí ela falou que ela usa muito de geometria, só que ela queria uma geometria meio distorcida, e que ela usou como inspiração meio que papelaria e coisas de escritório, né? Então, grampo, cabo de computador, esse tipo de coisa. E aí ela queria usar isso pro... Acho que é o equivalente ao TCC aqui no Brasil, né? Que é o Bachelor Degree. Acho que seria o TCC.
So that was a good starting point, and I wanted to kind of look a little bit deeper and dive into the computer side of things, because that's one of the main inhabitants of an office. So I borrowed, I took some kind of old computer equipment from a recycling place and kind of took it all apart to see what's inside and see what kind of repetition I can find on the inside of a computer. Okay, to go on?
Just a little moment, please. Ela falou que ela queria meio que mergulhar mais fundo nesse lance de repetição, que aí ela foi atrás de partes de computador usada, e parte de computador antigo usado, e ela desmontou algumas partes para pegar essas peças, Eve, did you took this picture yourself?
Yeah.
Ah, ok. Aí ela falou que ela mesma tirou essa foto dessas partes. Para o quê? Para analisar a repetição dos padrões.
Yeah, I used some of these elements for some of my work at the end as well.
Ah, ela falou que ela usou alguns desses elementos aí da foto pro trabalho dela também.
Yeah. Just another sample. So this was really fun. I got some old keyboards from a PC and Mac and took those apart to see what an inside would look like, and I found things that I never expected to find, like that green latex thing that basically creates the bounce when you press a button. So that was quite exciting, and also the colors were really interesting because I didn't expect to find that kind of color in an inside of a keyboard.
Aí ela falou que essa foto, nessa foto, ela pegou algumas partes de um teclado de um Mac antigo que ela tinha, e que aí ela não esperava ver esse tipo de cor, esse tipo de textura, e ela falou que esse da direita, que é uma faixa compridinha, é a parte de borracha do teclado, que faz o teclado ficar meio que fofinho, meio que pular. E que ela ficou surpresa com o que ela achou dentro, então, do computador, pelas cores e pelos materiais, que ela não estava esperando por isso.
So these keyboards kind of became a pretty big part of my final collection. So this bangle, for example, I made by using little hinges that are found on the inside of a Mac keyboard. And I cast them in silver, and the texture was so nice because they cast really well. So it's the same element as you can see on the bottom right on this picture here.
Ela falou que aí essa peça que ela fez. Eve, can you go to the next slide, please?
Yeah.
Yes. Ela falou que ela fez usando um pedaço de teclado, e são as dobradiças das molinhas que tem embaixo da tecla. E ela falou que ela fez o molde para fazer em prata, e que ela usou isso como uma das peças da coleção final dela.
So this is just a couple of pictures from the process I used. So I made a silicone mold of the first cast component, and then did multiples in wax, and then built these organic looking wax shapes, which are then cast in silver.
Ela falou que essas são algumas fotos do processo, que daí tem o molde em cera, e que daí ela foi montando isso, e depois ela mandou fundir em prata.
So this is another piece from my final collection, and that grey element in the middle is actually one of the things that I showed you on the picture before, you know, where we saw the grid of different elements. So this is when I really started to look at a cube as a recurring theme in my work, because it was appearing in so many different things. You know, you had the idea of an office cubicle where you sit in a little square space, and then the square meters of interiors, and the shape of most elements that I was looking at was a square. And so this is kind of where my obsession with geometry started. Yeah, so it was kind of one of the first pieces that was representative of my interest in that shape.
Ela falou que essa também é uma das peças finais do projeto dela, e que esse coisinho meio verde no meio, ela tirou de uma daquelas partes do computador que ela mostrou naquela foto, que tem vários componentes. E ela falou que foi quando ela meio que começou a se interessar pela forma cúbica e pela geometria mesmo. Ela falou que até lembra um cubículo de escritório, aquelas baias, né, de escritório, e que foi meio que como começou a obsessão dela por essa forma e pela estrutura.
So this is where I started really experimenting with 3D modeling, because I really enjoyed the idea of a really simple geometric shape like a square or a cube that could then be turned into something that looks more organic, to kind of really bring the idea of organized chaos to life. And 3D modeling just felt like a really good tool to do that, because you can quickly distort shapes and see how they change. You don't have to actually commit to anything, you just look at it on the screen. And so I ended up creating a series of these shapes, just to see what it would look like before actually committing to 3D printing.
Ela falou que aí nessa tela tem alguns dos experimentos que ela fez em 3D e que ela gosta meio que de transformar uma geometria simples, tipo cubos e quadrados, de pegar isso e deixar um pouquinho mais orgânico. E ela falou que ela meio que estudou e gosta desse caos organizado, e que no 3D o que ela gosta é que ela não precisa se comprometer muito. Então, por exemplo, ela mexe o que ela quiser no 3D, ela vê na hora, e depois ela manda fazer a impressão.
So for a long time, I kept my experiments on the screen and didn't do anything with them. There was all these different materials that I could try and build that stuff by hand, but there was always a limitation of weight, because I wanted to work quite large scale, and all the other materials that were available to me as a student, they ended up quite heavy. So I did some research on materials, and nylon 3D printing it was a perfect fit for what I wanted to do, because I wanted to work big and I wanted to work light and also achieve that perfect geometry. So this was the very first 3D print that I ever made.
Ela falou assim que ela demorou um pouco para meio que tirar essa ideia da tela, porque ela tinha que trabalhar porque ela era limitada pelos materiais que ela trabalhava como estudante, e que ela queria fazer coisas maiores, então ela sempre se preocupava muito com o peso e o tipo de material que ela ia usar. E que aí ela encontrou a impressão 3D no nylon, porque ela conseguia dar essa estrutura que ela gosta, essa geometria, e ao mesmo tempo é um material leve.
Yeah, so that was a very, very exciting moment. I remember it was like opening a Christmas present when I got it for the first time, because you see it on the screen, and then like 2 weeks later it arrives in the mail, and it was just so exciting. Yeah, it was only going to be a sample, but I was just so happy to see it that I ended up turning into a brooch.
Aí, a foto anterior e essa foto, ela falou que foi a primeira peça que ela imprimiu em 3D, e que foi tipo abrir um presente de Natal, porque você vê na tela e depois você vê ele pronto na sua mão, e que ela ficou super feliz quando chegou pelo correio. E ela falou que inicialmente ia ser um estudo, mas ela gostou tanto que acabou virando um broche.
Yeah, so the brooch consists of 2 layers. So you have 2 silver frames, one that holds it on top, and the other one at the bottom, which has the actual brooch fitting, and there is a tube connection in between them. So the bottom part of the brooch actually spins, so you can set it at a different way when you wear it.
Ela falou que o broche, a parte de baixo, então, são 2 estruturas de prata, uma que segura mesmo a peça em 3D, e a outra, que tem a parte do broche que tem o pin, você pode girar, então você pode mexer do jeito que você quiser a hora que você colocar no corpo.
So I really loved that relationship between a handmade back and a 3D printed top, and just kind of having that little bit of mechanical handmade connection in between the two. And I really wanted to introduce more of that into my work and kind of make it a blend of handmade and digital.
Ela falou que ela gostou muito dessa mistura de feito à mão, de uma coisa feita à mão e de uma coisa digital, principalmente essa parte de trás, então, do broche, e que aí ela queria integrar isso mesmo no trabalho dela, do digital e do feito à mão, da joia feito à mão.
So then I went on to create the second 3D printed piece of my degree show, which is Torrent Necklace. So this piece was created in 2 parts. So the necklace opens in the middle, and it's connected together by magnets. And the entire back, including the hinge at the back, is made by hand. So it's kind of, once again, including a little bit of handmade mechanics at the back with the hinge. Yeah, very satisfying to make.
Ela falou que essa então foi a segunda peça e é um colar. Aí ela falou que o meio dele é preso com ímã. E aí ela também misturou o feito à mão, porque daí a estrutura de trás do colar e o fecho ela fez à mão, e a parte impressão 3D seria o digital, que aí de novo tem essa mistura.
Okay, so the year was coming to an end, and I only had 2 3D printed pieces in the collection at that point, and I kind of felt like it was lacking a little bit of depth, and I wanted to see something that had more volume as well, and something that was mostly a 3D print and had maybe a little less silver in it. So that was quite risky, because as a student you don't have very much money, so 3D printing for me at that point was quite expensive. So, you know, I kind of took a bit of a risk there to see what this would look like. And actually originally that was meant to be a bracelet, but because I had very little experience, I kind of messed up with scale a little bit. Ended up being a huge massive brooch, but you know, it was one of the most admired pieces in my collection, and I still love it. Sorry, something different. Yeah, I really loved and still really love that piece. It now lives in a private collection, so I'm really glad I turned it into a brooch instead of a bracelet.
Ela falou assim que foi chegando no final do ano e ela precisava de mais peças pro trabalho dela, e que aí ela fez esse que originalmente seria um bracelete, mas ela falou que ela meio que se arriscou, porque impressão 3D é caro e ela era estudante, e ela falou assim que ela queria fazer uma peça então só com impressão 3D, sem nada de prata. E ela falou que quando ela mandou imprimir, ela meio que errou a escala, e aí acabou ficando muito grande. Daí ela falou que acabou virando então um broche super grandão, e que ela gostou mesmo assim, porque aí virou parte da coleção dela, e acho que é isso. Aí ela falou que foi uma das peças mais admiradas, que todo mundo gostou bastante, por causa da estrutura dela.
Yeah. So following on to the next slide, one of the most difficult and important decisions for me was choosing colors for my 3D prints, because they arrive so nice and white, and you just, you know, it's really exciting to go and apply color onto them, but it's quite you know, quite a risky decision as well, because once you do it, you can't really go back. So majority of my colors were based on the colors of those the computer components that I looked into, and also a series of photographs called The Office, which is a series of images of various offices from Japan, America, and Sweden from the late 90s. So it's sort of this kind of pale green, pink, and grey, just like a perfect palette to kind of contrast the madness of the 3D print itself, so it's slightly more calming.
Ela falou assim que uma parte importante do trabalho foi a decisão de cores, que ela tinha um pouco de medo porque é arriscado, porque uma vez que você pinta a impressão 3D, não tem como você voltar atrás, e que todos eles vêm naquela cor branca da foto anterior. E ela falou que ela usou as cores baseadas nos componentes dos computadores que ela pesquisou, e ela também se baseou numa série de fotos que chama, que eu já esqueci, The Office, de escritório, que é uma série de fotos do final da década de 90, que aí tem escritórios do Japão, dos Estados Unidos, e que a paleta de cores, então, são esses azuis clarinhos, são essas cores mais mais suaves, e que ela queria contrastar essa cor com a estrutura da impressão 3D das peças dela. Suavizar. É para dar uma suavizada.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this was how I applied color onto that big brooch. I chose to spray paint my work. The color application was very smooth, and it's exactly what I was looking for, and it allowed me to create a very smooth transition from one color to another, which is once again what I wanted to achieve, and the variety of colors was practically endless, so absolutely perfect. It did take quite a while to get it right because there were so many different ways to apply spray paint, so yeah, quite a few trials and errors there, and quite an expensive experiment, but yeah, at the end I got there and I achieved the perfect color transition that I was looking for.
Ela falou que ela fez então a aplicação com spray, que ela fez alguns testes porque para ver como que ia ficar, e que esses testes foram um pouco caros, porque é um material caro. E ela falou que ela queria meio que essa transição de cor, então esse degradê, e que ela conseguiu fazer isso com spray, que ela gostou bastante do resultado, que era isso que ela estava buscando mesmo.
Okay, so after I graduated in 2016, so 4 years ago now. I didn't have a workshop space for a while, so that kind of gave me some time to think about what I want to do next and where I want to take my work. A lot of my decisions were based around the feedback that I received at several shows after graduation. We took our work to a few different exhibitions, and 3D printing received a lot of really positive feedback, so I thought, that I wanted to develop it further. I was maybe in a slightly more commercial state of mind, so I decided to downscale everything a little bit to see how it would work on a smaller scale, but eventually I realized that the process for me works better on large scale.
Ela falou assim que depois que ela se formou em 2016, ela não tinha meio que um escritório, um espaço dela para trabalhar. E que aí ela parece que ela participou de alguns eventos, e aí nesses eventos ela teve um feedback muito positivo sobre a impressão 3D. E que aí ela começou então a trabalhar com isso mesmo, e que ela estava meio que numa vibe mais comercial, então ela decidiu diminuir um pouco a escala das peças, só que depois ela viu que meio que isso não funcionava muito para ela, que ela gostava de trabalhar com uma escala maior, com peças maiores.
Okay, so this is a few samples that I made. So majority of my 3D prints at that point were very static and solid, and they were mainly focused on shape rather than texture or flexibility or anything like that. So sort of was just focused on shape rather than the possibilities of nylon as a material. And I kind of looked around at other people working with 3D printing at that point, and it was the case with the majority of other people's work as well. So I tried to push it a little bit further and see what nylon can do as a material and what kind of characteristic it has that are more than just a shape. So I tested different wire thicknesses to see the flexibility of the print and how far you can push it, and the results were really interesting. You could control the shape yourself, so you could have a certain starting point and then you can distort the shape in the way you like it. So it's almost like you are in a 3D modeling software, but in real life, so you can kind of distort it and do what you want with it yourself.
Ela falou que no começo ela ela não estava tão preocupada com a elasticidade, com a flexibilidade e com a textura do nylon, ela estava mais preocupada com a forma, e ela percebeu que outras pessoas que estavam trabalhando com isso também estavam mais preocupadas com a forma, e ela decidiu, então, estudar mais um pouquinho essa história de flexibilidade, ela estudou diferentes espessuras do fio de nylon, para ver como que ele se comportava, e ela falou que ela gostou dessa história dele meio que voltar a ser o que era. Então, você consegue mexer nele e ele volta, ele tem uma elasticidade. E ela falou assim que o que ela acha legal é que é como se quando você está com a peça na mão, é como se você estivesse no programa 3D mesmo. Porque você pega a peça, você mexe nela o quanto que ela quer, e aí depois ela volta a ser o que ela era.
Yeah, so that was a very exciting development, and I ended up turning these into a series of brooches called Pressure. So each one they're all made from the same starting element, and then the shape of the frame at the back is different for each one, so it's just holding the print in a certain position.
Ela falou que a partir desses estudos ela fez esse broche, e todos esses broches eles têm a mesma estrutura, eles partem da mesma forma. E o que muda é a parte de trás do broche. Então, as curvas que tem na parte de prata são o que seguram a forma da peça 3D.
Yeah, so I've got one here.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so I made two series. So the one that you see on the picture in gold plating and silver and blue, and then I made the second one. So there's only one left from 6.
Ela falou que dessa série aí, esses que estão na foto são azuis e tem uma parte de ouro e de prata, e que aí o que tá com ela é meio que o último que sobrou.
Okay, so I wanted to push that idea of exploring the material possibilities a bit further, and that is how I created these the brushstroke earrings. So the wires are all attached to a plate at the back, and it is printed as one single piece. And at the beginning, I also didn't really know how it will perform at the end, because I was really expecting it to be a lot more solid than what it was at the end. So that was actually just a wonderful surprise when they got 3D printed and I took them out of the box, and they just had this beautiful movement to them. Once again, you know, you don't always know how a 3D print is going to act. You expect it to do one thing, but then at the end it does something completely different. So it can be a bit frustrating sometimes, but sometimes happy accidents like this happen.
Ela falou que ela queria, então, continuar explorando o material e que essa peça ela é feita toda de fios e que na parte de trás ela é grudada na pecinha de prata. E ela falou assim que quando ela mandou imprimir esse brinco, ela não esperava que ele fosse sair do jeito que ele saiu, que ela achou que ele fosse ser um pouquinho mais sólido, um pouquinho mais duro. E que essas são as surpresas da impressão 3D, que às vezes dá certo, às vezes não. E que nesse caso deu certo, ela gostou bastante do resultado, porque ele é meio molinho.
Yeah, so just to show you. Yeah. Okay. It's just to show them in different colors. And it took me a few years, but I did end up developing them in a few different sizes. So we've got the larger one, which I just showed you, and a slightly smaller one, and also a tiny little one, which I've only made a couple so far, but I really like the little ones.
Ela falou que alguns anos depois ela acabou brincando mais com os tamanhos diferentes, que aí ela fez aqueles 3 tamanhos, que aí tem o que ela mostrou é o grandão, tem o médio e o pequenininho, só que ela falou que o pequenininho ela fez só alguns.
So this is also quite a good example of using the flexible properties of nylon. So these rings, okay, let's see if I can play this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the starting element for that ring is it's got a flexible spine, so you can bend it into the shape you want.
Ela falou que ela continuou trabalhando com essa flexibilidade do nylon e que no caso desse anel ele tem uma estrutura de prata e aí o nylon ela só encaixa. Do you use any kind of glue or it's only fitted?
Well, it's fitted, and I do use aryl dyed. It's a resin.
Ah, ok. Aí ela falou que ela encaixa e ela usa uma resina para uma cola, né?
Araldite.
Isso, araldite para colar.
Mm-hmm. So then this necklace, this is the biggest piece I've ever made. Well, the biggest piece so far. A large statement necklace. It was printed in 2 separate parts. The parts are connected together through magnets, so where you can see the sterling silver connection, this is where the necklace comes apart. So you can hold it as 2 completely separate bits. The sterling silver parts also had to be 3D modeled in Rhino to kind of follow the flow of the piece perfectly. They were printed in wax and then also cast. Yeah, and it took quite a long time to get the shape of this necklace perfectly, just because it had to be nice and flat at the back so it's comfortable to wear, but then have this kind of interesting twisted moment going on at the back, and the balance had to be right as well, just to make sure that it's proportional on both sides.
Ela falou assim que essa é a maior peça que ela fez até agora, e que é um colarzão grandão. E ela falou que ele foi impresso em 2 partes e que a junção dele é por ímã. E só que ela falou que nesse caso, a parte de prata, ela teve também que fazer o molde em 3D e depois mandar para fundição, porque ele precisava ficar exatamente igual à peça, à impressão do nylon, e para ter um movimento bonito. Então, ela falou assim que ele deu um pouco de trabalho por causa do movimento do colar, porque a parte de trás tinha que ficar confortável, tinha que ficar retinha no pescoço, e a parte da frente tinha essa torção.
So following on, I also developed similar pieces to that necklace, but in different scale. So this brooch was quite successful, I think, because it's a good balance in between, you know, the scale and the shape and weight. So it's not too big, but at the same time, it still has got that kind of, you know, statement quality to it.
Ela falou assim que aí ela fez os broches com meio que a mesma forma do colar e que aí era um equilíbrio legal entre uma coisa super grande e um broche que você consegue usar e que mesmo assim ainda é um broche de presença, né?
Yeah. So just to give you an idea of scale.
Aí ela tá mostrando para a gente ter uma noção da escala, do tamanho.
So sterling silver backs on this piece as well. I make these individually by hand after receiving the print. So even though 3D printing is quite precise and you can almost always count on the dimensions, but you still have to work with each one individually because sometimes the tolerances are not quite right. So you have to build every back by hand.
Ela falou que a parte de prata, então, ela faz à mão e que ela espera a peça 3D chegar pronta, porque apesar de ser 3D e você ter uma noção de como o tamanho vai ser, às vezes tem uma margem de erro, que aí por isso, então, ela tem que ajustar cada um de acordo com a peça.
And just another brooch, which is the same as the one from my degree show, but in a slightly different color palette.
Aí esse daí ela falou que é o mesmo que ela fez para o trabalho final dela, mas é uma paleta de cores diferente.
So this is a piece that is a development on the same idea that I use for my brushstroke earrings. So once again, the wires are connected through the plates at the end, and you can bend it into the shape you want. And I used a slightly unusual brooch back connection here, where it starts from the top and then it's got a little hook on the side. Yeah, also a bit of an experimental piece, and I'm using a big laser hole mark here as well, which is something that I do quite a lot in my work. Laser hole marks are not as durable as traditional punch hole marks, but I think it's a nice addition to kind of the digital element in my work.
Ela falou que esse também foi um estudo dos mesmos fios da argola que ela mostrou, e que a parte de trás, então, é um pouco diferente do pin do broche, e que daí, então, a peça é presa pelas duas bases, e aí tem essa torção, por ele ser molinho. E ela falou assim que o diferencial disso daí, dessa peça, é o carimbo, porque ela mandou fazer em laser. Ela falou que não dura tanto quanto um carimbo normal, só que ela falou que gostou dessa adição, que é também, de novo, você colocar essa parte meio que tecnológica numa peça feita à mão, misturar os dois.
So this piece is a kind of a beginning of an interesting story of how something else developed from it. So initially it was this brooch made from individual wires in this spherical shape. This lady bought it a few years ago, and she sent me an email, and she told me that she dropped it and stepped on it. And she sent me that picture. And I thought, okay, you know, I'll fix it for you, just send it back to me. And when she sent it back, I looked at it and I thought, do you know, I actually quite like how organic that looks, and that it's not quite as perfect as it was before. And there was just something quite nice about how the wires kind of bent. And yeah, it's almost like a wind is blowing on them. And I thought that maybe I could try something that's a bit more organic.
Ela falou que essa peça foi um estudo diferente, que foi uma história interessante, porque ela falou que ela vendeu um broche para uma moça, e um tempo depois essa moça entrou em contato com ela e pediu para ela arrumar o broche, porque ela tinha derrubado no chão e pisado. E aí por isso que ele ficou todo amassadinho. E ela falou que quando ela recebeu o broche de volta para arrumar, ela achou interessante a forma, porque ela falou que ficou mais orgânico e que parecia que tinha soprado um vento e os fiozinhos tinham dobrado.
Yeah, so I used that idea for a few other samples to see how they would work out with a slightly more organic pattern.
Ela falou... Sorry. Ela falou que ela usou essa ideia, então, para fazer mais estudos, para deixar o fiozinho mais dobradinho, para ficar orgânico.
Okay, simply. Yeah, so okay, go back. I created a series of 3 pieces from that. They're not quite pieces yet, but they're getting there. All 3 of these are going to be brooches, so they all have a slightly different element of distortion to them, and the color sort of reflects the nature of that distortion. So this one is directly influenced by that grey brooch, and you can see it looks like grass being blown in the wind. And then we've got the blue one, which is more of a reference to water and sea, and it looks like a wave. And then we've got a slightly more fiery one, with a nice color gradient.
Aí ela falou que essas 3 peças que ela tá na mão, pelo que eu entendi, ela ainda tá meio que estudando e provavelmente elas vão virar broches. E elas são baseadas nesse estudo da forma um pouquinho mais orgânica e mais dobrada. Aí ela falou que o azul representa meio que o oceano e as ondas, e que aí ela também usa a cor, a diferença de cor no próprio broche para representar isso. Aí o azul seria, então, meio que o efeito das ondas, o vermelho seria mais ou menos fogo, e o verde seria como a grama se dobrando no chão também.
Yeah, and I also make work which is a little bit more commercial, and I make multiples of these in loads of different colors. So these are just some of the earrings that I do, different pendants, and once again earrings, and I think pieces like that really help me explore color because they are small, they're easier to produce, and I can test these out in different colors, and because they're not you know, they're in a slightly different price range, you know, I can sell them a lot easier. Yeah, but it's a really great way to experiment with color and shape.
Ela falou que essas últimas peças que ela mostrou são mais comerciais, que ela consegue vender mais, e que elas são um pouquinho menores, mas que ela gosta de trabalhar, de brincar um pouco com as cores, porque como as peças são menores, ela consegue mandar imprimir e fazer em cores diferentes e experimentar, porque aí ela não tem tanto risco com o preço, que aí ela então usa para fazer esses experimentos de cor mesmo.
São mais comerciais também.
E são peças mais comerciais.
Yeah, this is just some of my more simplistic sterling silver work, just a pair of earrings and a ring. So just to show you a few other things that I do, I work with commissions as well. This was a wedding ring that I made a few years ago with diamonds and in white gold, which was a direct development from these pieces.
Aí essas peças ela falou que são as mais simples em prata mesmo, sem impressão 3D. E ela falou que ela também aceita encomenda. Então esse anel, por exemplo, foi um anel de noivado, que aí ele é em ouro branco com diamantes, e que ele é inspirado nas peças anteriores de cubinho.
And just another interesting project that I did a couple of years ago, just to kind of think about different areas where 3D printing and just 3D modeling skills can be used. This was a project by a company called Decimal, who create 3D printed LED lights. So they collaborated with a variety of artists from all over the world and commissioned them to create a lamp design. So this was my entry. It was the first time for me making something that's not jewelry. And that was an interesting experience because for the first time it was, you know, I had more restrictions in terms of what I can and cannot do, and there was a lot more limitations because obviously there was you know, the LED fitting that had to fit the certain way, and you know, once again I had to consider the balance and the size. So that was a really interesting challenge, and at the same time a very interesting learning experience.
Ela falou que esse projeto ela fez em parceria com uma empresa, com essa Decimal, que faz luminárias e coisas em LED, e que essa empresa, então, convidou vários artistas para fazerem peças diferentes, e que ela foi uma das diferente, ela tinha que, porque é uma forma diferente, é um objeto diferente de uma joia, e que ela tinha que pensar, então, na estrutura, no equilíbrio, e onde encaixar o LED, a luz, e que foi um desafio, assim, mas foi uma experiência legal por ela poder trabalhar com uma peça diferente.
And yeah, just to show you the workspace. So this is where I normally work. This is my bench here in Glasgow in the studio called Vanilla Ink. There is 12 of us in the space. We all share the space and the equipment. Yeah, it's lovely. We have loads of dogs there, so if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen them. Yeah, really beautiful space. I have been with the same workshop since my graduation. Yeah, lovely community. But now I work from here because I moved everything home because we're in isolation. But it's nice. I'm renting a flat from a girl who did jewelry before, so she luckily had a bench in the flat. So yeah, I'm really super lucky for that.
Ela falou que o espaço anterior que ela mostrou é onde ela trabalha normalmente, que é um espaço coletivo, que tem 12 pessoas, e que ela usou os mesmos equipamentos, as mesmas coisas da época da graduação. Só que ela falou que agora ela está em outro lugar, que é a segunda foto que ela mostrou, que é a casa dela, porque eles estão em isolamento também. E ela falou que ela deu sorte porque a pessoa de quem ela está alugando o apartamento também trabalhava com joalheria, então essa bancada já estava no apartamento.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining and for listening. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. I have some pieces here as well, so if you'd like to see more jewelry, I can show you a couple more things.
Ela falou que se alguém tiver alguma pergunta, pode fazer, e que ela tem algumas outras peças também, se alguém quiser ver, se tiver alguma dúvida. Alguém tem alguma dúvida? Eu não tô vendo ninguém na tela, tá? Só para vocês saberem.
Hi, I will start. I'm Andrea Kovacs. Eve, thank you so much for the presentation. I am the student who had the pleasure to work, to get to know you and know your work and share with this group. I was really impressed by your work from what I got to know from Instagram, from the social media, and also from internet. And now that I see your line of thought and where do you get inspiration from, I'm even more excited to be able to share here this time with you and get to know more of your work. So thank you very much. And thank you for everything that you have shared with us. This is a great way of learning jewelry in this time of isolation. I think we have to even do more of this as part of our learning with jewelry. I do have some questions.
Sure.
First of all, I go back to the beginning and understand what was in jewelry that got you interested in doing a major with it. Is this from your interest with manual work or more of the design part?
So sort of why I chose to do jewelry in university.
And have a bachelor in that. This is here in South America, at least, is not something we have major at university. It's hard to find that kind of line of study. So that's why my interest in going on a major for this.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, in Russia, it's not a typical thing to choose to do either. It was quite surprising to people around me because, yeah, people normally don't choose to do something like that. I always wanted to do something artistic with my life because when I was still at school, I went to a Russian type of art school, so it was kind of like evening classes, and it was very traditional, so there was always a set way in terms of how you had to do things. You know, there is the rules of perspective, this is how you draw, this is how you paint. So I had like a very set mind in terms of what art should look like, and I originally actually wanted to become an architect because that was a more accepted path for somebody who did art school, and I did a year of preparation to then go and do an architecture degree. And I really couldn't do it. It was just, it just, you know, the plans and having to sit and like draw one plan for a month. It was just, yeah, I don't think I had enough patience for that. So I'm really glad it didn't work out. Yeah, and I wanted to find a balance between, you know, practical and creative, you know, something that I can do, but also have the physical connection with the thing that I'm making, which is not something you get from architecture because you just draw it and then somebody else builds it. So I think, yeah, for me, jewelry almost became like architecture on a small scale.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
A Deia perguntou de onde surgiu o interesse, né, para Eve fazer joalheria. Porque a Deia falou que, tipo, aqui no Brasil a gente não tem muitas faculdades de graduação mesmo de joalheria. E aí a Eve falou que ela é da Rússia, e na Rússia isso também não é muito comum, e que quando ela decidiu fazer joalheria as pessoas ficaram meio surpresas, mas que inicialmente ela queria fazer arquitetura. Daí ela falou que ficou 1 ano se preparando para fazer faculdade de arquitetura, e que quando começou ela não gostava muito dessa parte de só sentar e desenhar e ficar tudo no papel. E que ela gosta da ideia de joalheria porque a joalheria te proporciona você fazer o objeto e você usar o objeto, que na arquitetura isso não acontece, você só desenha e alguém constrói para você. E que ela gosta muito disso, ela procurava isso quando ela estava fazendo quando ela decidiu fazer essa graduação, dessa parte da parte prática de você fazer e da parte de estudo de desenhar também, de desenvolver as peças.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. It's incredible how I'm able to see in your work everything that you are sharing with us. And interesting to see that your first studies and your first jewelry was inspired by architecture. So it's very nice to hear your history on that and where your inspiration comes from. Eve, one question about your production process. I did see that you use some kind of varnish after you paint the nylon. Can you share us a little bit more about it?
It's nothing fancy. I mean, there is no secret. It's just, you know, because essentially this material is still plastic. So I use a spray varnish that is designed for plastic. Yeah, it's just matte, so you don't have any, you know, like glare. Yeah, it doesn't bling. It's just nice and matte.
Okay.
A Deia perguntou do processo de finalização, né, da peça, que a Deia falou que ela usa um verniz e perguntou qual verniz que era. E aí me falou que não é nada chique, que ela falou que é um verniz para plástico mesmo, com um acabamento fosco, para não ficar super brilhante, assim.
Okay, I have one last question, and I will let my colleagues take the next question, and it's about thinking about your commercial process. I do see that you are much more interested in the design thinking and the architectural pieces, but you also look into how to sustain your business and have commercial pieces. But when you are thinking about your next piece, do you focus on the design itself and how do you want it to look? Or do you think about your customers and how this will sell?
I think it depends on what I'm designing. If I'm making something that I know for sure is going to be a commercial piece, then definitely I will have my customer in mind as one of the first things. Because if I'm making something to sell, you know, it needs to respond to the needs of my customer. But if I'm making something that is more of an art piece or something that is a statement piece for an exhibition, I would just make it the way I want it to be, just because yeah, and I think it kind of, these two, they balance each other out, because the commercial pieces allow me to then invest into the things that are, you know, bigger and maybe a little bit more crazy, and yeah, I just kind of do what I want with them.
Okay. Thank you very much. Very nice of you to share with us. And
Pleasure.
I'll let my colleagues if they have any more questions.
Sure. Thank you.
Traduzir essa última pergunta. A Deia perguntou da parte comercial do trabalho dela, porque a Deia falou que ela conseguiu perceber que ela tem a parte comercial e tem a parte que é mais artista, assim. E a Eve falou assim que quando ela está produzindo uma peça, se ela estiver pensando mesmo em vender na parte em vendas, aí ela faz umas peças que são mais vendáveis, não sei. E que se ela tiver na cabeça dela que ela quer fazer uma peça mais grandona, mais artística, mais louca, ela faz, e que o bom desse lado comercial é que esse lado comercial proporciona a ela fazer peças mais loucas e mais de galeria mesmo, porque financeiramente essas peças de galeria elas acabam não vendendo, então esse lado comercial meio que financia o lado artístico dela.
Ô, Tami, pergunta para ela a respeito ainda no lugar do comercial, para a gente entender um pouquinho a diferença quando ela, por exemplo, né, ela falou que ela trabalha então com algumas galerias, e na parte comercial dela, como que ela faz a venda? É apenas pelo site ou seria, de repente, ela expõe em feiras, lojas? Como que funciona isso na Inglaterra?
The next question is still about the commercial part of your business. How does it work? For example, do you sell only on your website, or do you expose in galleries, on different shops? How do you work with that?
So yeah, I work with different channels. I sell on my website. I sell on Instagram just directly by speaking to people, and I work with a couple of galleries, and currently I'm working with one shop. Yeah, so a few different ways to do it, but they all work in a slightly different way. So you can work with a shop on a wholesale basis where they just buy your work at a wholesale price. Majority of galleries would work on a sale or return, where they would just borrow your work and then kind of pay you your artist price once something sells.
Ela falou assim que ela trabalha em vários canais diferentes, então ela vende pelo Instagram por mensagem mesmo, por direct, que ela vende pela loja online dela, e que ela expõe em galerias, e que atualmente ela tem as peças em uma loja, e que as lojas geralmente tem dois jeitos de comprar, que eu acho que seria como fala aqui no Brasil? Não, quando você deixa de... Consignado, ou então a loja compra mesmo a sua peça e depois revende.
Eu queria agora que você falasse para ela, super obrigada, peço desculpa que eu não falo inglês, está sendo super importante essa participação e essa troca. Eu queria muito parabenizar também pela apresentação e pelo trabalho, que é maravilhoso.
Thais is saying sorry because she doesn't speak English.
That's okay.
She's
sorry, I don't speak Portuguese.
But we're really happy that you're here, and she wants to congratulate you for your beautiful work and for your presentation, putting the effort to putting a presentation together for us. Thank you very much.
Queria também, Tami, partilhar com ela um sentimento aqui que eu tive. Primeiro, eu queria que você agradecesse muito, acho que já está agradecendo, né, várias vezes, o quanto está sendo legal ela aqui pra gente. E como ela foi generosa de explicar, mostrar pra gente um pouco o processo criativo dela. E tem uma parte, assim, que eu achei muito legal, assim, que mostra um pouco como funciona esse raciocínio do processo criativo, que foi quando uma cliente mandou para ela uma peça, e daí a peça deu aquela modificada um pouco na forma, e quanto aquilo trouxe para ela, como aquele inesperado trouxe para ela, abriu uma porta de possibilidades de uma nova forma de criar, e que eu achei incrível, assim, as peças ficaram maravilhosas, e como ela teve esse olhar, assim, para aquilo, assim. Não sei como você vai traduzir isso, mas...
Tá, eu vou tentar meu melhor. Fernanda also wants to thank you for your presence here. And she really liked, again, your effort for putting a presentation together for us, for showing your creative process. And she really liked the part where you told the story that your client sent a piece for you that she stepped on. And she really loved the idea that you took this as an opportunity for learning and for improving your work. She loved the results. Acho que é isso. Alguém sabe ou consegue adicionar mais alguma coisa?
Thank you. Yeah, that was it's sometimes, you see certain things as a failure, but then, yeah, as you say, it's more of an opportunity to improve. So I kind of tried to look at these bad outcomes as just, another, just another type of feedback. Yeah.
Ela falou assim que às vezes a gente só olha para as falhas, mas que nesse caso ela viu como realmente uma oportunidade e que é muito bom você pegar isso e transformar em uma outra coisa e também para você ter resultado, para você ter feedback das pessoas, né? I would like to ask a question for you.
Yeah.
As you said, you're from Russia, and do you feel there is a difference in jewelry, in contemporary jewelry between countries? For example, in the UK, in Russia, here in Brazil, do you feel the difference or the importance of contemporary jewelry?
Yeah, there's certainly a difference between Russia and the UK, because in Russia, contemporary jewelry pretty much doesn't exist. It only starts to develop now because there are a few younger jewelers who, similarly to me, got their education abroad and then they came back home and they started creating contemporary jewelry pieces and exhibiting them. So this is only starting in Russia now, and it's still having quite a hard time being accepted by general public. Because Russia is quite traditional in its jewelry tastes, so everything is just about, the precious metals and the stones. So it's really interesting to see how that's starting to develop now, while in the UK, of course, has been around for a very long time now. So for me as well, going into education for contemporary jewelry was kind of like a cultural change, which was really interesting.
Eu perguntei para ela se ela via alguma diferença na joalheria contemporânea entre os países, porque por ela ser da Rússia, ela falou assim que na Rússia praticamente não existe joalheria contemporânea, que eles são muito tradicionais e que só agora que está começando a aparecer, porque alguns joalheiros jovens como ela foram para outros lugares, estão estudando e estão trazendo isso, mas que ainda é pouco aceito, que ainda é um pouco difícil, porque lá é muito, muito tradicional. E que eles estão mais preocupados, então, com pedras preciosas, com metais preciosos, não tanto com, acho que com os conceitos, né? You said about the concept of your work. Do you think there's a difference regarding the consumers, the buyers? They are interested in your concept, in your work, and asking you about your creative process, or do you think they're more visual? They like what they see and they buy it.
I think it just entirely depends on the person. There are some people who are very interested in the story and they could build a connection to a certain piece if they know the story behind that one certain piece. But, you know, especially with the more commercial work, it is sort of like you know, it's like little children of the big work. So yeah, they kind of just speak for themselves. So for things like that, people might not be as interested in the concept behind it, but they just like the way something looks. And I think that's okay. I think, you know, some of these pieces can maybe just hang on the wall and be pretty, and they don't, yeah, I think it just depends on the person.
Eu perguntei para ela se ela via alguma diferença no tipo de consumidor, se é o tipo de consumidor que está interessado no trabalho dela, nos conceitos do porquê que ela fez a peça, ou se é mais aquele que viu, gostou, achou bonito e comprou. Ela falou que depende do consumidor, que tudo bem também, porque ela falou que tem peças, principalmente as menores, que elas são mais comerciais, e que então é mais fácil você fazer uma coisa mais bonita, assim, mais para venda mesmo, porque o consumidor vai chegar, vai olhar, vai gostar e vai comprar. E acho que é isso. Alguém tem alguma pergunta?
Yeah, for example, that big blue necklace, you know, I have the picture with the lady wearing it. I was at an exhibition in London where I had that necklace, and I don't think she asked me any questions about it. She just put it on, and then she just went away, and she walked around the exhibition in that necklace, and then she came back and she bought it. So maybe she, you know, she built a connection with it while she was walking around, but yeah, she didn't really ask me.
Ela falou que, por exemplo, aquele colarzão que ela mostrou, que tem uma foto de uma moça usando, ela falou que ela estava numa exposição e que a moça simplesmente colocou o colar e saiu andando com o colar, e que depois ela voltou e quis comprar. E aí ela falou assim que provavelmente a moça então criou uma conexão com o colar nessa voltinha que ela deu, e que ela nem perguntou nada, ela só gostou e comprou mesmo. Alguém tem pergunta?
Posso perguntar?
Claro.
I have a question about the material that you used. It's I think you chose the nylon to make your last work, wasn't it? And then before, when you were in the university, before choosing the nylon, definitely, have you thought about another material to make your last work?
Another 3D printing material, or generally another material?
Yeah, printing material.
Well, as a choice from my university work, at that point my knowledge of different materials was quite limited, so the leading factor with it was the cost, because in relation to a lot of other materials it was fairly affordable. But eventually, after spending some time with that material, it just it made a lot of sense for the things that I was looking for in a piece. And the major factor was the weight, because I was working large scale, and that's why that material was and still is the material I choose for my 3D printing. Oh, sorry. I have considered other options. It's just not something that I've had a chance to experiment with, unfortunately. But it's definitely an avenue I would like to explore in the future. Yeah.
A Pri perguntou se ela já chegou a pensar em usar outro material que não o nylon para impressão 3D. E a Eve falou que na época da faculdade o nylon era o mais acessível entre todos os materiais, e além disso ela ficava muito preocupada com o peso das peças, porque ela trabalhava com peças grandes. E aí ela falou que por isso que ela optou pelo nylon, mas que ela ainda quer estudar outros materiais para impressão 3D, que isso ainda é uma possibilidade, mas que por enquanto ela ainda não teve tempo. Mas que então por isso que ela usou o nylon, pelo preço, pela acessibilidade e pelo peso.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Alguém tem mais perguntas?
That's okay. Does anybody have any other questions?
Mayumi?
Yeah. I was. Hi. Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm sorry about my English.
Oh, don't worry.
Although I know I live here in US, I'm not quite quite good enough. But I was going to ask you about the materials, if you had already tested other kind, but Priscilla made that question.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, you talk about your commercial work and your statement, artistic work. And do you think of them separately, or one field connects to one another when you're creating your pieces?
I think there's definitely a connection between them, because I don't think that they look like two completely separate collections. So if I had my statement work mixed in together with my commercial work, they would still look cohesive as a collection. So mainly when I design something, I think about that, how they would look together, because I do a lot of shows and exhibitions where I sell the work directly to public. So I always have to think about how they would look together on a display, which is why I try to keep them as sort of like a big family, so they don't look completely separate from each other.
Okay. So you don't think like, I don't know, the fashion designers that they design a collection and then they think kind of an adaptation of this design in a commercial way?
Yeah, in a sense, that's exactly how it works, because I would have the big, slightly more expensive things, which I would maybe make one or two of, and then I would have multiples of little things which are kind of inspired by the bigger statement works.
Okay.
A Mayumi perguntou se a Eve faz uma diferenciação, ou se ela pensa diferente nas peças comerciais, nas peças mais de galerias, peças maiores, mais artísticas. E a Eve falou assim que todas elas são meio que coesas dentro da coleção, porque como ela às vezes expõe em galeria, ela precisa pensar no display de todas as peças. Então ela pensa como um todo e que... Ih, pera, me perdi.
Não, é que eu perguntei que se, então, por conta disso, ela pensa um pouco como os designers, os estilistas de moda, que eles pensam numa coleção, conceito, e daí fazem a adaptação para uma coisa mais comercial. Daí ela falou que sim, que é um pouco por aí.
Isso, e que as peças menores complementam as maiores e elas todas se conversam.
I can, hold on, I'll try and find an example to show you.
Ela falou que vai buscar exemplo para mostrar pra gente.
Okay, so yeah, I would have the biggest piece, and then there would be a slightly smaller necklace which uses a similar element in the middle to what we see at the back here. So you've got the scale difference, the price difference, but they still look good together, displayed next to each other. And then an even smaller one where you've got the bracelet, and once again keeping the cost down because it's just a single print. There is no silver and no hours of handwork. And then, you know, you scale it even more, and then you've just got like a little thing. Yeah. So they're all in different price ranges and they involve different levels of labor, but then, you know, displayed all together, they still make sense.
Eve, can I ask you a favor? Can you stop the screen sharing so we can see?
Oh yeah, sure.
Bigger?
Stop share. Yes.
Thank you. Aí ela mostrou as escalas diferentes, então, das peças que ela expõe. Então, aquele colar grandão, que tem os ímãs e tal, e aí depois o colar um pouquinho menor, e aí diminuindo ainda um pouco mais o bracelete, e depois um pouco mais o brinquinho, o pequenininho que ela mostrou. Porque ela falou, então, que tem diferenças de preço e de peso, né? E, por exemplo, o bracelete que ela mostrou, que é o azul, ele não tem nada de prata. Então, ele não tem trabalho manual de prata e não tem a prata em si para adicionar preço. E que aí, então, ela tem essas diferenças de valor e de quantidade de material. I would like to ask you a little about your shout-outs on your Instagram account. How did you came up with the idea, and why are you doing the shout-outs?
Basically, it was just a way to give small businesses a bit of support, because now a lot of small businesses are struggling because many people had to move out from their workspaces and a lot of the suppliers are closed down, so people can't continue working at the same level that they would normally be able to. Yeah, and it was just to kind of support the creative community and generally the community of people who run small businesses on their own. And I started it, I think maybe a few weeks ago now, and I try to do them fairly regularly. I was going to do them every day, but you know, life gets in the way. Yeah, but I try to do at least a few every week.
Eu perguntei para ela porque no Instagram dela ela faz umas chamadas assim para algumas marcas, e ela falou assim que ela quer incentivar essas marcas agora nesse momento, porque os fornecedores estão fechados, as pessoas não estão saindo, eles também estão em quarentena, e que ela arranjou essa forma então de meio que dar atenção para essas marcas independentes e pequenas, e que inicialmente ela queria fazer todo dia, mas que não dá para fazer todo dia, e que ela começou algumas semanas atrás, e ela faz alguns por semana, então. Mais perguntas?
I have a question. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Do you think it's easy or hard to handle the marketing? Do you learn that in your course, or like the Instagram, the online shop, and the galleries, everything? Is it easy or hard to handle it?
I would just say that it's quite slow to learn about it. It wasn't a part of my course. We didn't really have a business side to our course. It was just creative and skills learning. So after graduation, I did like a week-long course in London where it was specifically for jewelry. And they were talking about, you know, things like your website and marketing and ways of selling. And they did touch on some galleries as well. And there was a really good session on pricing and how to actually make money, because at university nobody talks about that. You know, they tell you how to solder, but they don't actually tell you how to make money from it. Yeah, so that was very useful. But a lot of it was just, you know, trying it out and seeing how it works. I do all of my marketing and website and everything myself. Yeah, I'm still learning as well.
Okay, thank you.
A Amon perguntou para ela da parte do marketing, porque ela que cuida de tudo, né, do site, do Instagram, e ela falou que na faculdade eles não aprendem isso, tipo, eles te ensinam a soldar, mas não te ensinam a vender. E ela falou assim que ela fez um curso de 1 semana em Londres, que aí era voltado para joalheria, para venda de joias, e que ela aprendeu um pouco lá, mas que ela ainda está meio que aprendendo assim por conta, e ela mesma que cuida de tudo mesmo.
Ela consegue identificar qual que é o público dela, que compra o trabalho dela?
Eve, do you have an idea of your consumers, of who buys your pieces?
I would say that it's generally separated into two categories. There is a large number of people who buy it for somebody else as a present. So that would normally be, people in the slightly higher age category who don't really have to worry much about money. So they would just buy it as a present for somebody else. And, there is younger people who want to, treat themselves to something special. So they would buy it for themselves, but for a special occasion. So this would normally be people in their 30s, when they start to get a little bit of money. So, they can kind of treat themselves for something a little bit different. Yeah, I would say that that's kind of the main two people. Obviously, there is collectors, which is a whole other section, but yeah, you never really know who they are.
Ela falou que o público dela é basicamente dividido em dois, então uma parte dos consumidores são as pessoas mais velhas, que não tem que se preocupar muito com dinheiro, e que compram para dar de presente. E ela falou que a outra grande parte, então, são os consumidores um pouco mais novos, mas que já têm renda própria, né? Então estão nos seus 30 anos, e que compram em ocasiões especiais ou quando querem dar um presente para si mesmos. E ela falou que a outra categoria que existe também, mas que é um pouco mais difícil, são os colecionadores, que aí compram as peças maiores.
Yeah, that's why one of the important things that they taught us at that course in London is that when you're exhibiting or you are at a show, you need to be just talking to everybody. It doesn't matter. You talk to everyone because you never really know who they are, or they might not buy something on that day, but maybe they're from a shop and they might be looking for new collections to stock in their shop, and just trying to see who would fit for Christmas or for a year later. So yeah, everybody needs to be talked to. Yeah.
Ela falou que nesse curso que ela fez em Londres, eles ensinaram, esse curso de marketing, eles ensinaram que você precisa falar com todo mundo se você estiver numa exposição, numa galeria ou numa feira, porque você nunca sabe se aquela pessoa pode eventualmente comprar depois a peça, se a pessoa é dono de loja e está procurando por peças novas para colocar na loja. Então ela falou que você tem que conversar com todo mundo mesmo. Alguém tem mais perguntas?
Ô, Tami, quando você chamou ela, você explicou que que tinha a Deia falou que estava fazendo uma pesquisa em relação ao trabalho dela, que isso ia sair, que daqui a pouco ela vai usar ela de inspiração para produzir uma peça?
Eu expliquei por alto, mas eu posso explicar melhor. Eve, I think I told you about our project on Instagram. Basically, our project consists we had a list of 61 jewelry artists from all over the world. Okay. And each student then was selected to different jewelry. So Deia was the one who was sorted to you. Mm-hmm. And based on the research that she did about your work, and your inspirations, she will then create a piece or a collection or something based on your work. And que mais que é para falar? Eu perdi. I think that this is it. And afterwards, all the students who chose an artist will do then a piece based on the said artist.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Em breve a gente vai mostrar o resultado.
Then later we will try to show you the result.
That would be fantastic. Oh, I'm really excited. Yeah. Are you going to have an exhibition of all the work that students create?
I don't know, let me ask them. Ela perguntou se a gente vai fazer uma exposição com esses trabalhos dos alunos.
A ideia é essa, né?
Eu não sei.
Acredito que sim, eu acho que estamos nesse processo de desenvolvimento, mas eu acho que sim. Tá vindo um material de pesquisa tão maravilhoso.
Acho que vocês têm que fazer, sim. Claro.
Eu sim acho.
We're still in development of the pieces from the students, but we plan to do an exhibition to show what everyone did.
Yeah.
I would like to share with Eve that every year they study. There is always a year-end exhibition, right? Last year we didn't have because there was a change of place of the study, so we were out of time for the exhibition. This year we had planned to happen it next weekend, so due to the isolation it will not be possible, but hopefully we'll be able to share with an exhibition of this work that the coronavirus has helped us to plan. But I don't know if Tammy shared with you, but the study, right, the group of jewelers, Fernanda and Thais are the main artists that founded the jewelry studio, and Tammy is part of the team as well. So I would like to thank Tammy for making this session happen, and also for the great translation, on-time translation. They are incredible, and we have great artists as part of the students. So I will communicate with you through Instagram to share with you my thoughts and what I'm thinking about the work, and also share with you the great artists that we have here with the team.
Yeah, that would be really wonderful. Yeah, I'm really excited to see the results, and maybe if you decide to do like an online exhibition instead of a real one, that might be quite cool.
Yeah. Very nice. Good idea. Good idea. Very generous of you. Tammy, você quer traduzir pouco o que eu falei? Tammy will translate.
A Deia falou pouco que da Thaís e da Fê, que são as fundadoras da escola, e que a gente ia ter uma exposição, só que foi adiada, e agora foi adiada de novo, né, por causa do corona. E a Eve falou que ela quer ver as peças, e que ela até falou, se vocês fizerem uma exposição online também seria legal. Também acho que seria bem legal mostrar para todo mundo, e para a gente poder mandar para ela também, né? Então...
We have an Instagram account of the school.
Okay.
It's kind of deactivated. Like we have to put things there.
We neglected it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe I can follow each one of you individually until it's reactivated.
But due to the lockdown, we're trying to revive the Instagram account.
Yeah, sure.
And we're going to post more things, and we'll try to post the studies and the works that will result from the studies from the students on the Instagram account. I'll send to you later on via direct.
Yeah, let me know if you want me to do a shout out. Get you some followers.
No, sure.
Yay.
We would appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. Of course. Yeah, definitely send it over to me. And yeah, you guys have all probably seen my Instagram handle, so if you give me a follow, I'll follow all of you back.
We're recording this conversation. Do you mind if we post it on YouTube so the other students can have access to it?
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Fine.
As soon as the video is edited, is complete, I will send to you the link, and we'll post it on YouTube then.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
Alguém tem mais alguma pergunta? Ou quer falar alguma coisa?
Eu acho que eu tenho uma pergunta. Eve, could you tell us about your course, your bachelor course? How long did it take? What kind of classes did you have? Just a little bit of it.
So the course itself is 4 years. I did 3 out of the 4 because the first year I did an international foundation and then went straight into the second year of jewelry. And it was a mixture of different things. It was a balance in between learning skills and also kind of really pushing the creative side of things. So we mainly worked in projects where you would be giving a theme or, you know, kind of like a topic to work around, and you'd be giving like 6 weeks or something like that to create a piece based on that topic. We had in second and third year, every week we had a technical session where we would learn a particular skill. So there would be a demonstration by the tutor, we would have to repeat that, and then, you know, maybe use that skill in your next piece that you create for a project. We also did some silversmithing. So we, you know, created bowls and spoons. We also had a really interesting couple of weeks where we had a chasing session. So we would chase the patterns in the metal. Yeah, there was an academical side of things as well, with kind of art and design related lectures, and we would write essays every term, and then, you know, at the end, in the 4th year, you can either write an extended essay or a dissertation. Yeah, so that's kind of the general scope of it.
A mãe me perguntou pouco sobre a graduação dela, e ela falou que geralmente são 4 anos, mas que ela começou direto no 2º ano, e que era meio que balanceado entre a parte prática e a parte teórica. Ela falou, então, que eles pensavam em conceitos e tal, e que às vezes eles tinham que trabalhar de acordo com um tema. Aí ela falou que no 3º ano, ou no segundo ou 3º ano, eles fizeram eles aprenderam um pouco sobre... alguém sabe o que é silversmithing?
É a joalheria mesmo.
É a joalheria, a habilidade de mexer no metal.
Ah, tá. Que aí ela aprendeu a fazer, por exemplo, bowls e colheres e esses utensílios, e que então era bem balanceado, assim, e que aí depois você tinha até a opção de, se você quisesse fazer uma dissertação ou escrever um trabalho mesmo, você também tinha que fazer isso às vezes, e que basicamente então era esse balanço entre a parte prática e a parte teórica. Alguém tem mais alguma pergunta?
Yeah, does that answer your question? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Alguém tem alguma pergunta? Ou a gente encerra? Não sei. Tá todo mundo balançando a cabeça, mas eu não sei a resposta.
No.
Acho que...
Thank you for sharing with us, Eve.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you guys for your time, and thank you for the translation, and also just for inviting me and selecting me. It's a big honor. I can't wait to see what you create.
If you ever come to Brazil, come to São Paulo and visit us.
Yeah, I will. After all of this is over, I'm gonna jump on a plane.
Safe, but you are welcome here.
Thank you. Hopefully, you know, this ends soon and I can actually make it to your end of the year exhibition.
Yeah, that would be great.
Great.
Yeah, that would be very exciting.
Thank you very much, Eve, for accepting talking with us. It was wonderful and it was enlightening, and we're really happy. Thank you.
Me too. Yeah, thank you all so much. And yeah, I'm looking forward to following all of you on Instagram and seeing what you guys make. And also looking forward to seeing this on YouTube. I'm going to share it. I'm sure, yeah, will be.
I'll be sure to send the link to you. And we'll talk later then.
Yeah, sure.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a good afternoon, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank